Okay, I'm ready for the start of my 4-row repeat. I am 4 stitches beyond the end. Here's my previous one, and I've got 4 stitches. I'm going to take my next color, and because it's Intarsia and because it matters and because you don't want any holes, it's always old yarn over new yarn. No matter which way you're going, it's old yarn over new yarn. Now I know I don't have a very big tail. I have a little tiny short darning needle that I use to work my ends in. So I'm going to hold on to these two, and I'm knitting 14 stitches because my horizontal stripe is 12 stitches plus the 2 vertical. So that's 8, and okay, here I am. I'm at 14 stitches. I'm going to Intarsia the background. This is the background stripe that's going to separate those two. You'll see why it's a separate piece when I get to the end. So Intarsia all the way to the end, to the red, which is my last color. I want to pull this to the front. And this is the way it works, because you see the stitches are all locked in and I don't have any holes. You see how that's all locked in? That's Intarsia. And I have no holes. You can see it looks really good. Pull this to the front. The reason I'm pulling the background to the front, they aren't bobbins, they're just bits of yarn, and if I pull them to the front between rows, everything tangles less. It takes less time to sort everything out. Okay, now in the previous row, because this is Intarsia in the round, when I got done here, I stretched the yarn out and I caught it here. So then when I knit it around, it was already caught and I didn't have a problem. So watch the video on Intarsia in the round if it's confusing, if you haven't done Intarsia in the round. I've got an Intarsia in the round video, and you can watch that and it will make sense. Okay, so here we go. Pull that out. Now I can't start back the other way until I have a second yarn here. I only have 1 yarn. I've got to have 2. So I have 2 red, but I only have 1 blue. So I'm going to take my background yarn, which is here, and it goes all the way around, and it goes over the red. This is my old yarn, because we're pretending that I've knit to here. This is my old yarn. So it's going over the red, and I knit off. I didn't intend to have so many colors to work on, but I screwed the video up enough times that I ended up having way more iterations of the colors than I intended, which makes this kind of long. I may end up cutting it out, we'll see. Or speeding it up, I could do that too. Okay, so here I'm back to the color I just added, but I can only do 2 stitches because I'm doing that vertical bar, 2 stitches of a oop, I screwed up. Let me back up. I didn't get my last background color bit done. There we go. Never play that part again. Okay, so here we are. We're at our last color added. So I can only get 2 stitches. See that? I can only knit 2 stitches, which means I need to take all of these and put them on the other needle so that I can knit. Well, see, I could add, I could add this here, but then I'd have to guess how long to make this so that my yarn ends there. So it's easier for me if I just take and transfer those stitches. Now I like leading leg and back, so as I'm transferring the stitches, I'm changing the stitch mount so I don't have to knit through the front of the stitch. Okay, so I'm going to add my new little piece of background yarn here to do my fill-in for this row. I'm going to hold these 2 together and I'm going to knit across. Now, I'm going to do a proactive stitch mount this time. I'm going to put the yarn around the needle the other way so it mounts my stitches the way I need them, so I don't have to change them out. I know there's a lot going on. Sorry about that. I knit funny. For me it works, but for other people, not so much. Okay. Now, here's the tricky part that normally you would think, okay, you're going to put this yarn over the top of that yarn and knit across, and you can't do that. Because we slipped all these stitches, I'm actually on the row that's going that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the yellow over that little bit of background. I'm going to slip, I'm going to knit 2 stitches. That's my separator column. And then I'm going to slip all of those. Let me pull this to the front. I'm going to slip all of those stitches. They're oriented correctly now, so I don't have to take so long. Okay, here we go. Now, I've got this yarn locked in. I'm going to tie these 2 together. Now I'm not going to tie a tight knot. I'm going to tie a nice loose knot that I can undo when it comes time to work the ends in. So now I've got that trapped, and I can knit off around to the other. I feel like I split a stitch, but I didn't. Okay, off and running. So I'm going to knit all the way around to the other side and pull that yarn through. And you see, this is where I am. So let me knit all the way around and I'll come back and show you the last bit. Okay, I'm coming up on the color work from the other direction. And all I'm going to do is pull the yarn through to get rid of my loop and wrap the red yarn around and knit off again. So here's my loop. I need to make sure I don't have anything trapped. Looks like I've got a yellow in there or a pink in there that's trapped. So got to get the pink out. If you work with Intarsia and you have strands that are short enough to leave loose, it's always easier. Okay. Getting closer. Okay. So I'm going to pull. See, there's the loop from as I worked around. I just kept pulling yarn through to, and this has got to go over the top of that. Remember when we knit the first row and we came to the red and it had a loop? This is where that loop is formed, right here. And that makes sure we don't have any holes. Okay, I'm going to knit all the way back around and make sure you snug that first stitch up pretty good so you don't end up with, sometimes I don't do it as well and I end up with a little bit of a loose stitch. It always works out when it's washed, but you know, the initial aesthetics aren't that great. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are back to the color work. And this time we don't add any color. We're going to dash in with our background color, and we're going to wrap the yarn, work the Intarsia across, dash back out with the same color. Okay, and I'm not going to torture you with all of the Intarsia. I'm going to do this and then I'll come back when we do the turn at the other end, and then I'll abandon you again and come back to this point where we finish up. Okay, I'm at the other end. I've put my little piece of background yarn over the red. Knit the red, pull the loop, and then this is the background fabric or yarn, and it goes over the top of the red like that, and we knit back off. Okay, and I'll knit to the end and I'll be right back with you. Okay, I am back to it seems kind of silly to have an extra piece of yarn that's background color and you're doing Intarsia on the same color yarn, but it's the only way it works. After the, I don't know, zillionth frog, I finally figured it out, and this is what works. Now this is row 4 because it's a 4-row repeat, and I'll walk you through it again now that you've seen it in action. Okay, here we go. So this is row 1. The yellow row is row 1. The row where I did 2 stitches and then I slipped all of those stitches and then I added the background color and knit those stitches. That was row 2. Then I knit all the way around and I knit all the way back, and then I knit 2 rows up to this piece that's our separator. So when I come back the next time and I add my color starting here, it will have, that will be is set and ready to go, and I can just wrap it and go. So that's my 4-row repeat, and this is what it comes out looking like, and I'm really pleased with it. I mean, really pleased with it. So there we go.